and gentlemen, to another episode of Running Wild Podcast. I'm your co-host Rich, alongside me as always my co-host Runz.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so we got tons of stuff to discuss this week. We got the Mae Young Classic coming up. We just had WWE Great Balls of Fire, and we also have an interview with Flip Gordon. So make sure you guys stick around and check that out. Before we get started, I want to remind you that we're brought to you in partnership with pwponderings.com, rohworld.com, and we're featured on Wrestling to the Max Network. Alright, so what do you want to start with? The news from NXT, or do you want to kind of go in order from the event?
No, we can touch on that last, I guess. We can just talk about Great Balls of Fire quickly.
Alright, so, okay. After this show, I mean, is there any debate that Braun Strowman is a babyface?
I don't think he's a babyface. I just think he's just there. And that's what I don't know if it was Vince or someone. There's no real such thing as heels and faces right now. And that's kind of the role he's playing.
But you cheer.
If he's facing a face, then he's a face. If he's a heel. If he's facing a heel, then he's a face. But against Roman Reigns, he's always going to be getting those reactions.
But I mean, okay. Any time in the past, if somebody gets Roman Reigns tried to kill him, and Braun Strowman was able to walk away from it on his own.
Yeah, because he's a monster.
It shows like a little bit of resilience. I mean, not as much as Sami Zayn, but there's still some resilience.
The Undertaker floated out of caskets, and I don't know.
Well, that was when he died.
Right, and just kept coming back. So I don't know.
All right, so I mean, kind of going a little bit more in order. Neville was able to defeat Tozawa, which kind of saw coming.
Good match, though.
No, it was a good match. I mean, I don't love Tozawa too much, but I thought
he could have won. Yeah, I really thought he could have won when he hit the what is it? Not the senton. Whatever the hell move he hits.
I can't
Cannonball, whatever.
Yeah.
Off the top. So I really thought he was going to win. Neville rolled out of the ring. It was a good match.
Then the pay-per-view started off with Wyatt versus Rollins. And Wyatt won. I was flabbergasted. I thought it was a good match. I was surprised that it was the opener, but Bray winning was just a pretty big deal.
I believe I predicted that. I'm really not sure, but I definitely enjoyed Bray winning. It's a much-needed win and kind of cements him in that role that he needs to be in, and it doesn't really hurt Rollins that much. So we saw on Monday where Rollins and Ambrose helped each other out, and even though Ambrose told them to leave him alone, so either that's going to be 2/3 of the Shield back together for a little while, or it's going to be an Ambrose heel team. So either way, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, that actually does seem kind of interesting. Big Cass destroyed Enzo. I mean,
I like this shirt. I like it. Just for you.
So he's wearing a certified G shirt. I don't know. So what are you going to have? You're going to have Enzo basically come back and say, like, I want you again? Or is it done? Or do you have something else for SummerSlam? I mean, they're both from New York. You figure it's in Brooklyn. Isn't like the smart money to have them face off?
Yeah, it is, but it depends on, do you just have Cass kill him again, or does Enzo somehow escape with a win? I don't know that you do that to Cass, and I really hated... okay, so the match was exactly what it should have been, right? Cass just dominating Enzo, killing him, wiping him out. And then on Monday, Cass cuts a great promo, and then he gets beat the hell up by the Big Show. What are you doing?
Good. He deserves it.
Terrible booking.
Let's go, Big Show.
Right. Even through your nonsensical logic here, that's not an okay thing to do.
What do you mean?
Why have Big Show come out and beat up Big Cass and make him run away?
Well,
You're everything in his promos is on the future. I'm the next. I'm a champion. I'm this. I'm that. Like they're writing promos, so obviously they're telling him to say these things. And then his first thing as a single star after getting away from his little buddy, is to get beat up by the Big Show.
well, I mean, I think it would have worked better if he came out, if Big Show maybe had come to help Enzo the night before. Right? Yeah.
Maybe, but still, like if he came to help him the night before, and like instead of fighting, Big Cass ran away, that's fine. And then they have a match on Raw that Big Cass wins. But to just have him come out directly, headbutt Big Cass, and then beat him up to the point he has to run away, come on. That's how you kill people.
Can we stop, by the way, calling him Big Cass and just call him Cass?
No, isn't his name Big Cass?
All right. Well, anyway, yeah, I didn't like the way they booked that. It didn't make a lot of sense. It's too soon to have him run off that way, and he's a big man. He shouldn't be running off that way. They should have been separated. It does seem like a purposeful decision. You know, it's not like it was an act. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know why they would go that way.
They don't think things through is the biggest problem. Because you're having this guy say all this important, meaningful stuff about his future that we all believe, and then you just kind of like, well, not yet. You know, I said future. Mm-hmm. Whereas like the night before and during the promo, I'm like, wow, could he fight Brock at some point soon? Like, why do they keep pushing this? And then it's just, oh no, he's going to lose to the Big Show.
I mean, I don't think he's going to end up losing to the Big Show.
No.
So
I don't either.
If there's the first silver lining here, you know.
Right. He's going to come away with the win in this feud, and it's designed to make him beat a big guy and look more dominant. I get that part. But you can do that without him getting run off the first time he's seen by himself.
Fair. All right, and then what else do we have? We have the tag team Iron Men match. The Hardys ended up losing basically because they were bamboozled at the beginning of the match and dropped a quick pinfall and kind of never were able to recover. I don't know.
And they just ran out of time.
Yeah, not super. I mean, it was good. I don't know if I want to watch, to be honest with you, a tag team match for half an hour. Like,
not with the Hardys.
Well, okay. Yeah, not with the Hardys. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be fine with a match starting, like the Revival, DIY matches, right? Like that starting and going 30 minutes, right? Like without me knowing. Yeah. And like I
without the Iron Man.
Statwife's immediate was like, oh, what's going on? And then kept looking up and going, why is this still on? And I'm like, oh, it's a guaranteed 30-minute match. And I was like, oh, great. But I really I've never wanted to see really like. I know they've already done the best 2 out of 3 out of falls, whatever. But I've never wanted to see a tag team Iron Man match. I know they're like it's the first time but I was like, oh, great. That's something that I'm not very excited about. And I don't know what. Well, the Revival ends up coming out the next night and attacking the Hardys. So I guess we're going to see them. And Matt's, of course, teasing again. He says, like, oh, yes, we're feeling a little, tired, exhausted, and broken. I mean, he's really... I love that he's keeping it alive, just in case.
Well, so, first, I kind of disagree with you. Like, I was looking forward to the 30-man tag team match. I thought it was a good concept. I thought they had... 2 good teams with a good story been going, and it was the right kind of time to do it. But watching Matt wrestle is a struggle. And sometimes it's just like, oh man, like this guy can barely move. But I enjoyed the quick pinfall. I thought it was a clever way to do that. You knew they were going to do it. So that was a new way that I've never seen before it be done. So I like that. I enjoyed the match. It wasn't, it didn't blow me away. It's really tough when you watch the Bucks and War Machine and even Chuck and Trent and the PWG tag matches, that kind of thing, when it's just those things blow this stuff out of the water. So watching those guys fight 2 out of 3 falls or 4 half an hour or whatever the case is a lot different than a WWE tag team match. And that's not saying it was bad, but it's tough when that's always in the back of your mind. As for Raw, again, I love that promo. Jeff even sang the obsolete song. And then they lost to Gallows and Anderson. They got destroyed by the Revival. So it has to be building to them just getting broken and snapping. And then, the news came out that apparently they had some type of deal, and now Global Force just isn't signing it. Jeff Jarrett said they hadn't gotten approval or what, so it's tough to know what to believe and what's really going on there. But it seems like they were definitely pushing forward, and now maybe they're taking a step backwards.
They should. I think WWE should just go forward with it, but they should just fuck with them and do it like. I am not fixed, and like backspace. I'm doing the hand motion, so like just do it. Just do that. I mean, if other places get away with things that are so close.
But that's the equivalent of the Hardys going to TNA and being like the Hardys with 2 Z's. You know what I mean? And then like you'd be like, oh, that's the worst thing ever. But if it's WWE, it's no, that's okay, acceptable.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, let's say if the Mets do something and I don't like it, I'll be a little hesitant. Look, if the Yankees do it, I'll just dump all over them. Like I'm terrible. I'm a homer. Like I will, and I'm
just letting the viewers, listeners,
and by the way,
learn a little about their hosts here.
With Homer, I mean literally every wrestling company but TNA.
Right.
Like I root for every
now, so that's good.
Yeah, whatever.
At least now it's not TNA. You can't hate it instantly.
Well, now I don't have to hear my wife say tits and ass every time I'd put it on once in a blue moon. She'd be like, "What is this? Is this the tits and ass nonsense?"
Say, like, "Go fuck wrestling" or something like that.
That's basically what they're doing. All right, I gotta stop. That's why I try not to bring it up a lot, because I don't want to talk about it on air. We can have we'll have a special episode one day, all dedicated to how I feel about it. We can go through the history of TNA.
Let's just say that it's not a great omen that their first official champion got arrested and suspended. So that's not a great start.
I'm not sure if he got arrested, but he's definitely suspended, right?
Well, right. I'm sorry. I don't want to say he got arrested.
Yeah. Just in case
he had an incident, an alleged incident, whatever the hell, and got suspended by GFW. So.
By the way, I'm super...
Not the way you want to kick off your company.
I'm sorry about that. I'm super corporate, and I'm just making sure that, all
No, absolutely.
We don't want to get...
Alleged.
Yeah, we don't want to get sued, because, this is obviously a worldwide podcast.
Everyone listens to this podcast. No. I'm sure Alberto and Paige will be checking us out.
This will probably be on TMZ, and they'll be like, breaking news, this podcast...
ESPN, Running Wild Podcast, breaks story.
Hey, we did have a spike in our subscribers this week, so... You know what?
Well, I'm sorry to hear
that. Welcome to all the new listeners.
Welcome to all 3 of you. Thanks for, I don't know what you were doing and subscribing. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Way more than 3, bro. All right. Moving forward in the night, let's see. Then we had, there's the women's match, Alexa Bliss.
Whatever.
Well, I like
heel move.
Yeah, I like the count out. I love the count out. That's awesome.
Great heel move.
What do you think? It's a false count anywhere match at SummerSlam?
Maybe, but then why do you have Bayley pin Alexa on Raw? Bayley pins Alexa on Raw and then raises Sasha's hand. That's wrong. That's incorrect. You did that incorrectly, WWE. That's not how that's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Unless it's going to be a 3-way or a 4-way.
And then you're not going to do a 3-way false count anywhere, are you?
No.
So, like, I really do feel like when you have something like when you have an end like Falls Count Anywhere, and then the way it went after the match.
Maybe what they do is some type of women's cage or something like that.
Yeah, it's got to
cool.
build. Like usually, that count out victory needs to build to something. Where the
Falls Count Anywhere.
Yeah, somebody gets
cage match, something like that. Lumberjack.
Yeah,
Lumberjill in this case.
Yeah, it's the basically the gimmick that eliminates the heel from being able to pull the same tactic.
Yep.
So I guess looking forward to that. Now I want to see how it at least unfurls going forward.
Right, and I mean, speaking of heels who pulled that tactic, The Miz beat Dean Ambrose and Joy, whatever, who cares? This feud seemed to somewhat continue on Raw, maybe with the inclusion of Rollins and some other members. I'm not really sure. So, joy to us all.
And the weird thing is I love The Miz.
Oh, see, and that's where, like, when I say that, people get misconstrued. Like, The Miz is great. I love his half of this entire storyline. But watching him wrestle Dean Ambrose is really getting old.
Yeah. Speaking of getting old, why did Bray fight Rollins the next night?
Just because.
I mean, okay. It's just...
Your guess is as good as mine. Like, when I'm watching, I'm just like, oh, well, here was your opener, one of your top 3 matches on the pay-per-view, and here it is again in a longer form on Raw.
And, and also then, did the R-Truth thing end with Goldust?
I guess. Is that it? Like, I don't. Like, they couldn't even get on the pre-show.
Yeah.
That's been a good angle. Like, it's been enjoyable. Hopefully, it's not over. Hopefully, it's kind of just getting started. But I mean, as R-Truth says in his theme, it's only getting started now, right? So it hasn't even started yet. So we shall see.
And I think the big thing from Raw, really. well, hold on. I'm skipping around from the show.
Correct.
So whatever. We didn't care about Miz really. Oh, a match that we didn't even know was going to happen. Heath Slater defeated Kurt Hawkins.
Well, we have to address the ambulance match first. The ambulance match was really good. Braun Strowman is fantastic. Roman Reigns matches never really disappoint. I love these guys' feud. I could watch them fight forever. So we'll get to next week's Raw predictions in a few minutes when we talk about the main event and all of that. But I hope to see these guys in some type of last man standing, loser dies, some type of match where this is the finality.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the way it ended. I loved that Miss Spear, and he goes right into the truck. That was amazing. And then to have the follow up, I did not see that coming at all.
No,
that Roman Reigns is now an attempted murderer.
Yeah, I think the roles should have been reversed. With Braun killing Roman, like that would have been a great heel thing to do. But I love it being Roman too. That's adds another side to his character that we really haven't seen yet. So it was really enjoyable, man. I like I said, I love watching these guys wrestle and fight and do all the things they've been doing. It's a great rivalry, and it's going to be one probably for a long time because in 2 years that they have all this history, and it's going to be fun.
And what's even bigger, I think, than that match was the fact that the semi-main was Heath Slater versus Kurt Hawkins.
If anyone hasn't seen this pay-per-view, after this match, they sent out Hawkins and Slater to look like they were all disoriented and they needed time to regroup, and they just had this match. And I really enjoyed the idea of it. Like, they really sold that, oh, look at these guys, they're taping up their wrists and they're doing this and that to get prepared. They had no idea. So that was cool. That was a nice little moment for them.
I mean, huge. Dude's got the semi-main the pay-per-view.
Or the popcorn match, however you want to look at it.
And then Brock Lesnar defeated Samoa Joe. Not a very long match. But,
longer than usual Brock matches.
But, wow. I mean, Joe dominated, and they kind of told a story that all Brock needs is a little opening. He slipped out.
They told that story, right, and they told the story, the announcers specifically, of Samoa Joe just got caught. He made one mistake, he slipped up, maybe let his guard down for a second, and he got caught. So once I heard that, and once I saw Joe staring at Brock, and Brock was like adjusting his jaw and all that, I was like, wait a minute, this is not it. Like, they are not done. And I said to you, I think the next day, that I hoped Joe would beat Reigns in a number one contender match by hook or by crook, it doesn't matter. And we move on to Roman and Braun at SummerSlam, and Joe and Brock for the second time at SummerSlam, and Joe walks away as the champ. I think that's the way they need to go. When Samoa Joe came out, they better have heard that reaction that he got. I loved that segment on Raw. I thought the three of them were just being real and talking, and they all interacted with each other. They didn't forget about the other guy standing in the ring. I thought that was really, really well done.
No, it was excellent. I thought everything worked really well. And when when Brock started coming back and hitting those Germans, I was like, wow, it really legitimately felt like a back and forth match.
Yeah, I thought Joe was going to win. Like, he was dominating him, and the way he kept choking him out and getting so much closer, man, they sold me on it. I was in the whole way. It was fantastic. I love that match. When Joe lost, I was a little like, oh, 1F5, damn. But afterwards, they sold it well, and that was it. I appreciated it, and I'm hopeful for what they do going into the next pay-per-view and SummerSlam and all that.
100%.
It helps. That segment on Raw was so good because Roman and Brock have such a good history. Now Joe and Brock have a history. Joe and Roman have a little beef. So everything is really fit in well with that, and anyone is a legitimate threat in that ring. So it was a cool segment.
Agreed. And then we really touched on everything on Raw except for Kurt Angle's message at the end. He ends up getting another text message.
Where is Raw going to be next week?
Is it New York?
Any idea? Nope.
Where?
It's in Nashville, Tennessee.
Dude, so right after
Whose home is in Nashville, Tennessee?
Oh my god, I'm sorry about the coughing. I'm just kind of getting excited. So right after the show, I texted you and I was saying, I think it's Dixie Carter.
While I'm sitting there like, what diva is Kurt banging? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean...
And you texted me, could Kurt be talking to Dixie? And my mind was legitimately blown. I sat here like, holy shit. I didn't even think about it. That's genius. And the reason why I didn't think about it, and what started kind of putting a little bit of doubt in my mind the last day or so, is like, why would that be so controversial? Like he was saying, this could ruin us. What if they find out? And blah, blah, blah. Why would that be such a bad thing?
Well, just because she's, like, not looked upon kindly, I guess?
But, like, that would ruin his career? Like, WWE would fire him because he's talking to or banging Dixie Carter? I don't know. So like that's why Dixie never crossed my mind, because the way it sounded, saying "I love you" and like "Oh, we'll be all right, we're gonna do this together," it was like, what diva could he possibly be banging? And there's no option on the roster, in my opinion, unless it's gonna be like something crazy, like it's like Bailey. Like I don't know, but I really have no idea where this is going. If it's Dixie, even if we think and whatever, I'm going to be stunned and just like, I don't know, speechless.
I mean, the only other thing I could think would be Stephanie?
That was the one that I was thinking, because they have such a history. But I mean, I don't know, like if a McMahon is going to be having an affair while her husband is Triple H, I don't know. But I mean,
Vince did it.
That right, but he's Vince. That could happen. That could get them to Angle versus Triple H, which was a rumor. So I don't know, but that would be really crazy in the PG era. Wife of mother of three.
Yeah, that would be. Imagine.
You know how that's. I don't know that Vince would put his daughter in that position.
And because like the oldest one is like 9, isn't she now?
Right, like they're old enough to know.
Yeah, so that's not cool. All right, it's going to be interesting.
It really is, and we've been saying for a couple weeks that they've had our attention here, and this climax or build up to the climax didn't disappoint. So it's really intriguing to see what they do on Raw.
SmackDown. So I actually watched it. Well,
I have watched it.
Neither of us. Well, I never really get excited about going to a house show, 100%. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, no, it's the old school mentality where, like, for the past 15 years, house shows didn't really mean anything. But we always overlook the Garden house show, and that they're going to do things because it's the Garden, and something cool usually happens. So we got to start paying a little more attention. The next one is probably Christmas, the day after.
Yeah, Statwife hilariously was almost angry about it. Like, why would they do that? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, doing it on that show, like they come on. They can't, like, that's not fair. Like, people just go to stupid house shows. Like, legit super angry, and it got me
she
super
sees
excited.
The future of, like, oh man, now we're gonna have to start going to this shit.
Well, I'm not lying to you. Once I hear a White Plains show is announced, we're going. I heard that arena is like 3,500 people, man, fit in that place.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Like, that's going to be a completely different experience from anything that we ever see normally.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that one. But anyway,
they did a good job on Raw of continuing, the stuff we want to see and setting up some newer things, whatever that Balor Hardy stuff was, or whatever the Broken Hardy stuff was. It's a puzzling time because we don't really know what's going on. Brock is the champ. Who's going to beat him? Does anyone beat him? Who knows?
Fair. So then the whole AJ thing happens. That opens SmackDown. He starts.
Right. I guess we didn't talk about why we were talking about the house show at the Garden.
Yeah.
AJ beat Kevin Owens for the U.S. title at the Garden, which is just awesome. That's a cool moment for the company, for them, for those guys, for AJ to win the belt at the Garden that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really great, and and I would have never. I mean, these tickets go on sale way before you ever know what's going to happen.
Right.
So, I mean, how much of this you can really
like to have Balor's debut, Nakamura's debut, Bailey. Man, damn, loaded card. It's a Raw house show, and they have Nakamura, AJ versus Owens for the U.S. title. Like, come on, that's not even fair.
Yeah. I don't know.
How could we have predicted that?
Like, there's no way. There's no way. And I'm not, we just don't go to house shows. I mean, I don't.
The next one is, and now what they've done is the next house show at the Garden is a must attend. That's the position they've put us in. And that's great for them. Good job. That's what you should be doing with your TV show as well.
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna be married to going to a house show. And you know what the worst part is, though? I feel the only thing that makes me feel really terrible about the whole thing. My dad asked me if he should get tickets to it for him and my brother to go, and my recommendation was nah. And you know the tickets were expensive; they weren't cheap.
Right. They're more expensive than they used to be.
Because he wouldn't have listened if the tickets were cheap. He would not have listened to me, and he would have just gone. Yeah. So he ended up not going because of my recommendation, but also because of the price.
It wasn't worth the price, based on your say.
Yeah.
Great job. Great call there.
Yeah, no.
Do you recall the price of...
I feel like he said $120
Jesus.
For, like, not that, for tickets that weren't that close.
The last time I went to a house show at the Garden, my friend got free tickets, and we were sitting right above where they walked out of. So, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. But, nothing happened. It was just a normal house show, and it was like, it just cemented my thought of, like, oh, okay, this is just a house show. But the past couple of years, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they don't really go to the Garden anymore, they've stepped up their house show game there, and it's kind of like a big thing now.
I'm upset. Oh, well. I'm not going to get too crazy about it, but...
Nope. And that was pretty much SmackDown. Nothing happened. There was a bunch of tag matches and meaningless things.
I will say that they really did get me at one point. I was sitting there watching the opener, and Cena comes out, which I understand, right, because of the open challenge. But I was also, I thought, and I was sitting there talking to Stagwife, and I said, I'm really surprised. And then they were going to start the match, right? I'm like, I'm really surprised Kevin Owens is not coming out and being upset, showing, about losing the title. It's really weird. Like, he should be next in line. He shouldn't be happy that AJ's doing an open challenge. And then I just was shaking my head, and right before the match starts, I was like, you guys got me. Nice job.
Yeah, I mean, I was just waiting for that to happen. EJ actually texted me, like, oh, nice, Cena versus AJ. And I was like, there's no way that they are giving this away. Like, 100% Owens is coming out. And, like, even before, even up until, like, they almost started the match, I still was just like, okay, I'm waiting. Here he comes.
See, I really thought they weren't going to do it. That they got me. Like, that little extra time really, really threw me off.
Yeah, that was a great opening segment. Cena AJ it just has a big fight feel, partly because they're the two biggest stars of the two like main TV companies in the past 20 years, but also due to the fact that every one of their matches has been stellar.
I thought Rusev looked good in this segment too, and then you got the Teddy Long special. Somebody has a GIF they put up online that makes me laugh so hard. It's a picture of it says like WWE 2K something. It might be this year's, whatever. It's a picture of Teddy Long, and then for match types, it just has tag team matches, all the options. I just think of him right away. It's just amazing.
Hello.
I mean, okay. Let me put SmackDown. I think I can describe most of SmackDown by basically highlighting these two things. One, my wife cried when John Cena came out. Just cried. Cried and clapped. Like, yay! Like, that was her reaction. Okay?
Why?
Because she missed seeing... She's like, didn't you miss him? And she didn't
see... He was there last week.
Well, she didn't watch last week. Right? So this was her first time in a long time seeing him come out. And she was...
So she missed John Cena enough to cry on sight.
Yep. And this is the rest of SmackDown. Easily described by her as... or surmised by her as... Who the fuck is this guy? When Ty Dillinger was coming out to face Mahal, she's like, why do you have this guy facing your champion? And I died. It was just perfect.
Wow.
But she didn't see, or did she see, the Sami Zayn,
Yes.
on the receiving end of the power of love, which was upsetting. I thought these two were all about love and kindness, and it seems they're not.
That was very good. Really enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed on Talking Smack. Sami Zayn was on, and he was like, "Oh, I just went out for my match. You could see here, like I didn't even see them on the entranceway. I apologize right there. I said I got to go to the ring, and I apologize again, but that's not how they do things." They asked him like, "Oh, how do you feel about him taking her name?" And he was like, "Hey, I'm a progressive guy. I would never judge anyone." So it was, I enjoyed the little interview they had with him, and like I said last week, I'm looking forward to that storyline becoming a thing and actually getting physical, because that's a great start for Mike Kanellis, and perfect feud for Zayn to go into.
The worst was when Statwife said, "Oh man, why is he so goofy and like geeky? Is this the guy you like?" And I was just
oh, because he's just like me.
Super upset to hear my wife say that. All right, well, that was really SmackDown. I mean, the tag match is a tag match. Faces went over. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
Even the women's was a tag match. Just some. It's funny, you have tag match. The two guys who are in a tag team singles match.
One is fucking singles match. Yeah.
So that was great. But it's 2 hours, so it doesn't feel as long or torturous when you're watching a bad Raw.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess we have news and interview. So let's go to news, and then we'll hit the interview up and wrap things up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess we'll talk about NXT first.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, you had the official on TV debut of Bobby Fish, right? And Triple H tweeted out, "Happy to officially announce the signing of Fish," and all that. On the tapings, you had Riley wrestle. There's been some rumors that it's possible a couple of ROH guys will debut as a stable, and that would be sick, because NXT doesn't really have that right now, and for a company like Ring of Honor, who is, basically on the same level as NXT, that's pretty awesome for it to be Fish and O'Reilly. You got to figure Cole, maybe, I think you mentioned earlier, maybe even Roddy or Ono. So they have a ton of possibilities of Leo Rush if he comes in anytime soon. They have a definite array of options, and I would really like to see that happen. And like I mentioned to you, Bobby Fish lost to Aleister Black, and so did Kyle O'Reilly. So maybe that gives them a common enemy, right off the bat.
Yeah, man, it's just crazy to think about these guys being there. Crazy to think that we've had both of them on our show. Crazy to think that we've seen them, like kind of like what we talked about with other guys in these smaller venues, and then you're thinking now that they're gonna go in front of crowds that are 3 times that size. It's kind of absurd.
No matter what, they're going to be a big deal, but if they debut as, like a Nexus type thing, then they're right off the bat big deals. And that's always cool to see that, despite now where these guys are coming from, despite if they have a name already, Triple H, WWE, NXT, whatever, they're using most of them the right way.
Yeah, just really excited. Just NXT is crazy. I have to be better. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I simply actually think it's just because it's Wednesday. And I think
it's just burnout.
Yeah. But I can't even tell you that I watch 205 Live consistently after SmackDown.
Never.
Yeah, it's burnout. It's we have 2 TVs here. We do. But the wife and I like to sit next to each other, even if we're watching something the other one doesn't really love. And, to her credit, she'll sit through the pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown. Like, it was her idea to watch SmackDown. We started it late, and she said, "Hey, let's go in the living room and watch SmackDown." Thank you. What am I going to say now? Now here's another hour?
What?
Here's another
Yeah,
one.
there's this other one with guys that you probably don't really know, but should know for the next wave of these guys you'll be watching on the main show. That's too much. Like she doesn't come to ROH or Evolve. Like that's too much for her.
Yeah. It's like when I put hockey on that one time, and she looks at the screen and goes, "What the fuck is that?" And I go, I'm thinking,
well, guess that's out.
You're over 30. I would think that you know what this sport is, and then she clarified that she didn't want to watch that. So I can't do it. So I try to watch it here or there. I think I watch it more in blocks than I do anything else, or I'll watch a match that I think is particularly stands out to me. But now with these signings, I feel like I have to do it. I have to sacrifice the time. I'm just gonna have to sleep less or something.
Yeah, it's been in a little bit of a down period, slightly, because of all the guys jumping to the main roster, but they haven't missed a beat, and they've replenished with some nice guys, and now the next wave is already coming in, and they're all a big deal, so it's going to be right back where it was in a minute.
So speaking of...
couldn't have made me happier that we got our tickets to Brooklyn, because it's going to be filled with nice stuff that we would like to see. Maybe that'll be the debut of, that ROH faction or something like that.
Stat Wife doesn't know that yet, so let's not talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. She listens to it?
No, not at all. So. Never does.
Anyway.
Then the Mae Young Classic is being filmed. It's being filmed tonight, which is Thursday, as we tape. You guys will hear this Saturday morning. So by Saturday morning, they'll have taped, according to a Jim Ross tweet.
Everyone will know everything.
Yeah, 16 tonight, and then 14 matches tomorrow. So... then what I like about it is on the 28th they're going to air 4 episodes of August, and then on the 4th of September they're going to air another 4. I wish they didn't have to wait that long.
Right.
It's summer. I mean, I'm so ridiculous. That
part is annoying.
I know I'm being ridiculous. I know sometimes I'm being ridiculous, but I do feel that sometimes. Okay, it's the summer. You have kids who are home, right? I know that this isn't particularly tailored just for children, but I don't understand
why.
Not
at all for children.
I don't know. Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter. It's also like I also thought that the way video games are released annoys me. I understand they come out around December so that people buy them, like pretty big games in the late fall. But man, I wish that there was a big season in July. Like that was a big release, window, because I want to play new games during the summer.
Yeah, it's just that, 95% of people don't have summers off, so it doesn't really matter.
Fair. But all the children in the world do.
Right, but if you're releasing, like, Metal Gear Solid or Persona or, those big games, they're not geared towards children.
Fair. All right. Any names stick out for you? Anyone you think?
Well, so this is what I wanted to say. Like when I looked at all the names that they had, I was pleasantly surprised that I knew a good deal of them, and I was excited to see names like Candice LeRae or Crazy Mary Dobson is in, and there's Kimberly and a bunch of these good women that I've heard of on the independents, and others that I've just heard their name mentioned, and maybe I haven't seen them work, but I know of them, and so I'm definitely excited to watch, and it's going to be interesting to see how this is presented and really who gets the win and what it means for them.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. Especially, I like the binge watching aspect. I think
I can't wait to read the results. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, there's no way for me to avoid them for a month. So
no,
over a month.
I can't wait to read them today. Like, it's going to be. I love reading 47 matches. I love tournament spoilers, except for Battle of Los Angeles, which we'll get to in a second.
All right. Yeah. So actually, let's move on to that. What do you?
So that list was also released, and I sent you my own little list of, I think, 8 or 10 guys. Keith Lee, Jeff Cobb, Trevor Lee, Riddle, Penta, Phoenix. I can't even remember who else was on there. Dijak, Elgin, Brian Cage. It is a loaded field if you follow independent wrestling and, PWG in particular, because like someone like Trevor Lee, well, yeah, he's in TNA and he uses that as a heel thing in PWG, and he's been getting upset wins for his whole career there, and he's a major player there. So there are guys like that in the tournament that can win, and then there are guys who are just big stars and becoming big stars. Marty, Zack Sabre are in there. Now, I don't think they'll win, but watching them wrestle and watching someone beat them is going to mean something. So it's going to be a really fun tournament this year.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do my best to not pay attention to the results. It's hard because it really floods my timeline. Like, I would have to just stay
Just don't
off.
read Twitter. Just post and write and just don't look at what anyone says.
The other problem is that for the newscast,
you discuss it, right?
Yeah, so...
it's rough. Like, it's one thing to know the winner. Like, that really sucks. But it's also, like, it spoils the other 30 matches that come before it,
100%. I think that's the biggest problem with, for me at least, when it comes to stuff like that. When you have a tournament, I'll watch the finals, even if I know who the winner is. Yeah. I won't watch every single match in the tournament because that's just too much of my time when I know what's going to happen.
And, we don't have the King of the Ring really anymore, so, like, Battle of Los Angeles has been such an awesome addition to my wrestling watching over the summer or in September, whenever it actually comes out. But, man, it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep, just wish I lived in Reseda.
Oh, well, I mean, for that, yeah, but overall, I'm good.
No.
Nah. Something I like about Marinick, my friend. All right.
I could live in California. There's a couple nice things to like about that place, too.
Well, before we devolve into real estate stuff, I just want to thank, once again, Flip Gordon. We had a chance to sit down with him just yesterday, actually. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy our interview with the latest Ring of Honor signing, Flip Gordon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined tonight by Flip Gordon. Flip, thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
So, just really exciting times, in your career. You've only been wrestling for 2 years, and you just recently signed a contract to Ring of Honor. What did that mean to you to be able to kind of solidify a contract like that with one of the bigger companies?
It means a lot to me because when I first started, I set a goal for myself, and a realistic goal to myself, but kind of unrealistic to others. And that goal was to sign with a major company within 2 years. And I signed a month before my 2 years. So that was a huge accomplishment for me. And it was so hard not to tell anybody until it was announced.
How long did you have to keep that under wraps?
Right around a month.
Oh. Were you able to tell, like, anyone close to you, or?
I told a couple people, and then I went home to visit my family in Montana. Mm-hmm. And none of them know anything about wrestling, know nobody in wrestling except for me. So I felt like it was safe to tell them. So I told everybody when I went home. But the wrestling, I kind of kayfabed it for a while.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think on my end, sometimes I'll talk about interviewing someone, and I realize that my family doesn't really watch wrestling. So they'll be like, "Who are you talking about?" They're like, "I know Hulk Hogan," and I'm like, "All right." So it's just, I think, one of those things where family doesn't always understand the business, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool because I can tell them, like, oh, this is happening. They're like, oh, cool. But they don't really care.
Yeah.
But it's a way for me to tell somebody. That way I'm not bottling it all up inside of me.
Yeah, just get it off your chest.
Exactly. Because you always want to tell somebody something. When something cool happens, you want to tell people.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I just did this. Like, and even if they don't care, at least you told somebody,
100%. I actually got to see you, I believe it was Evolve 68. I think it was a dark match before the show proper started. Can you tell us about your time in Evolve, or the shows you did there?
I did 3 shows with Evolve, and I had a lot of fun with them. First match I did was against Ethan Page. Second one was against Evan Markopoulos.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually, I know very well because of Chaotic Wrestling where I came up. And then the third one was against Fred Yehai, which was another really fun match. They're doing good things. They're doing big things. I got a lot of friends down there, so they treated me well when I was there, but they told me I wasn't ready. So I kind of went out and tried to do whatever I could to make them want me, and then Ring of Honor wanted me instead. And I think I made the right choice by signing with Ring of Honor. So Evolve definitely motivated me, though.
Completely. Were you signed to Ring of Honor when they were down in, I believe it was Maryland or the Baltimore area?
I was not.
Okay, so that was like a tryout for you almost.
Well, I had already done a tryout with them
Mm-hmm.
in January, and then they were impressed with what they saw, so they invited me down to Baltimore in April, and that was kind of just like a test to see how I acted backstage, see how I perform in front of a live audience, in front of cameras and everything, and I guess they liked me because they ended up asking me to sign with them, so...
We were just talking about it before you got started. How do you balance, being in the military and wrestling?
It's hard sometimes. When I first started, I was wrestling not every weekend, so it was a little easier because I'm in the Army National Guard, so I have to do drill 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks during the summer. So last year I ended up having to do 2 different trainings during the summer, so I ended up having to take 2 months off for these trainings. And when I came back, I kind of reinvented myself. And really since then, I've kind of blown up to the point where I'm wrestling every single weekend. So now actually the Army's working with me to the point where I don't have to drill on the weekends no more. I'm actually allowed to make up that time during the week.
Mm-hmm.
They're just pretty much helping me because they see what I'm doing. Actually, my command sergeant major, who's the one that's mainly working with me, used to be a pro wrestler over in the Northwest while he was at Fort Lewis. So he wrestled in like the Tacoma area, where I'll actually be making my debut next month.
Cool.
But he loves wrestling, and he saw what I was doing, and he didn't want the Army to like limit my abilities in the ring and limit my career. So he's really working with me. The Army's working with me, and it's amazing to have them work with me because I only have about a year left on my contract. So once my contract is up, I can either re-enlist or I can walk away and just pursue wrestling.
Is there anything that you're restricted from doing? Like let's say, for example, if you got injured, would you not have to go to drill?
No, I would still have to go to drill. Obviously, I would just have to do something different instead of the actual training that my unit would be doing. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm actually transferring down to like a regional training institute, which is called the RTI for Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pretty much just doing paperwork and stuff for the rest of my contract just to help me. I'm non-deployable now, so nobody has to worry about me getting deployed and being away from wrestling. So pretty much I'm just I mean, it's not fun. I'm not doing the job that I signed up for, but they're working with me. That way I can live my dream and get through this next year of my contract.
Oh, that's fantastic. Is there anything that you can't, like as a member of the military that like you wouldn't be able to do on TV in terms of character or anything like that?
No, I was very skeptical about telling people I was in the Army when it came to my wrestling career because I wasn't sure how it would be perceived. I wasn't sure what the people in the Army would say or if they'd be like, hey, you can't do that. But it's been everybody's been very supportive of it. And to the fact that a lot of my battle buddies, which is what we call our friends or our coworkers in the Army, have given me ideas like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, try this. So everybody's been very supportive and nobody's really said, hey, don't do that. The only stuff I have gotten critiques on or bad feedback on is my salute. Because sometimes I do a Cena salute, which is just a horrible salute. But I just do it because I don't want to be a full-on soldier when I'm wrestling. Because I'm not coming out and I'm not saluting every single time. But maybe I should do a proper salute. I don't know. I kind of just feed it off the crowd.
Granted.
But you gotta be a little bit different because it's the Flip Army. It's not the U.S. Army. So I'm the leader of the Flip Army, which means I can make my own rules. So if I want to do a salute with 2 fingers, guess what? I'm going to do a salute with 2 fingers.
Are you speaking of like the Flip Army, are you looking to stay as singles? Recently on Ring of Honor television, you teamed up with Coast to Coast, and you guys seem to make a pretty good trio there. Is that like a one-time thing, or do you think that's something that you guys will be pursuing moving forward?
I don't really know. I love Coast to Coast. We worked very well together. But I like to see myself as a singles wrestler because I love the attention, and being in the ring, I get most of it if it's just me in there with somebody else. When you're in a tag team or in a 6-man tag team, you got to share that with 2 other guys that are on your team, and sometimes a little selfish, and I want to show off a bit. So, also when you're in there, like if there's more than just one person on your team, if you have a bad match, it's on all of you guys. Whereas when I have a bad match, it's just on me. When I have a good match, it's just on me. So I don't like that other people can affect whether I have a good or bad match. But that just comes with the territory. I mean, obviously, if we work together and we work well together, we're going to put on great matches. So obviously, that wouldn't be a problem. But I love being a singles wrestler. But I will do whatever Ring of Honor tells me because they are my bosses.
It looks like, according to some Being the Elite videos, it seems that you might have some future opponents picked out, perhaps, because of what's going on in those videos. How did that get started?
It got started down in Mexico because before they announced that I was signed with Ring of Honor, apparently the Young Bucks found out. And we were down in Tijuana, Mexico for the Crash. And they wanted to welcome me to Ring of Honor. And they beat me up. And they got a good reaction from all their crazy fans that like seeing innocent people beaten up. So they decided to keep beating me up and welcome me to Ring of Honor week after week after week. They like to welcome me to Ring of Honor. Now Cody Rhodes is involved in it. Marty Scurll is involved in it. It's ridiculous. They're very harmful ribs, and it hurts. Marty broke my finger.
I saw that.
I couldn't wrestle for a week because he broke my finger.
They got you going to the ring recently. It's just kind of been ongoing. So
it's interfering with my work.
Do you think are we going to see that come up on television anytime soon?
I don't know, to be honest. You never know, though. It's professional wrestling, so when something's hot, sometimes they like to capitalize on it. I can tell you that I am eventually going to get these suckers back. I'm pulling some recon right now. I'm studying them, watching all their movements, logging their times. They come and go. I'm going to get them back. I don't know if I want to do it all at once or one at a time. So, I'm on a show tomorrow with Cody Rhodes. Maybe I'll take him out tomorrow.
Are you going for a harmful rib or a harmless rib?
Oh, they're beyond harmful now.
Fantastic. How was your recent trip to England?
It's amazing, man. I love England. I always have so much fun. I've been there 4 times this year already, and it's just every time I learn something new. I take something away from it. The crowds are amazing over there. The fans are so loyal over there. I have this one family. They literally, every single time I've been there, they came to see me wrestle. And it was all from the first time they saw me wrestle, the way I interacted with their kids and them. So because of that, I made a lifetime fan. And the last time I was there, they drove over 4 hours to come see me wrestle. So that's some dedication.
Wow. That's fantastic. Where are you going to be this coming weekend? I know that Ring of Honor is a bit of a summer break a little bit for the month of July. They'll be taping down in North Carolina at the end of the month. But
yes,
what are your bookings like for the next couple of weeks?
This weekend I have Wrestle Pro. Tomorrow I have Wrestle Pro. Friday I have Northeast Wrestling. Saturday I have Northeast Wrestling. Sunday I have XWA. And then next weekend I have Limitless Wrestling in Maine, Wrestle Circus down in Texas, and I'm going to IWC in Denver that Sunday.
Is it nice?
Make it
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm excited to make my debut in Denver, Colorado, because I've never been there before. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That's obviously closer to where you grew up. How has the transition been like from Montana to the Northeast?
It was different when I first moved here, but I mean, I'm used to it now. I'm used to the lingo. I'm used to the horrible traffic. It's just one of those things. I mean, I literally moved from one side of the country to the other to pursue this dream, and it was a definite culture shock when I first got here. I've almost been here 3 years. It'll be 3 years in September. So, I mean, I'm used to it now. I love Boston. I love the city. I love the Northeast. I love wrestling. So I'm happy right now.
What made you pick up and go across the country instead of going to, other schools that were located perhaps closer to where you grew up?
Well, there wasn't really any schools close to where I grew up. That's why I had to travel. The closest one was Lance Storms up in Alberta, but being in the military, I wasn't allowed to move out of country.
So you had already signed up for the military before you decided to start training.
Yeah.
What made you take that leap?
Long story, but pretty much there was just nothing else left for me. I was going to college. I didn't get a degree. I was in Idaho and just kind of, I had a decent job, and it was just time. I was like, what am I doing here, man? I was like, I don't have a future here. I just wasn't happy anymore. And it was like, do I keep telling all these people that I want to be a professional wrestler, or do I chase this dream? And so I literally packed up my whole truck and drove across the country. It took me 4 days. My best friend didn't think I would do it. He thought I was doing it just because of a breakup that happened with me and one of my ex-girlfriends. I was like, no, dude, I have to leave, man. I have to chase this dream. And he's like, man, you'll be back in 2 months. I was like, I bet you I won't. He's like, I bet you $500 you will. And I've been here 3 years now. So he still owes me $500.
He still owes you, all right.
Still owes me, man.
One of the things that kind of defines you as a wrestler is some of the amazing things you can do in the ring. How do you prepare when you're going from one company to another and you're not in the same ring? At least when you're with Ring of Honor now, you know that there's going to be a consistency with the rings. How do you kind of factor that in when you're going to different places?
I don't do moves that I can't do 10 out of 10 times. I hate slipping on ropes. I hate falling. I hate botching. So I always test the ring when I get somewhere. That way I know, hey, I can't do this move. I can't do this move. I always test the ropes. I always test the ring. Some companies I don't have to because I've been at those companies before. I've been in that ring before, so I don't have to test it. But that's something that you should always do, whether you're a high flyer or not. Always test the ring because there's different sizes. There's 18 foot, there's 16 foot, there's 14 foot. Even if it's just running the ropes to get your steps down. Every ring is different. Every bump is different. So you just want just to protect yourself and your opponent, you should always test the ring.
That's definitely good advice. What are some goals you have moving forward and in Ring of Honor and beyond?
My big goal is there's 5 countries I want to hit, and the main one is Japan. My goal is to go to Japan before 2018, which is a very, very hard goal, but I don't think it's unrealistic. But right now, I just want to train really hard, keep wrestling everywhere and anywhere I can, just so I can keep getting better. But my main goal is 5 countries that I want to mark off this year. It's Japan, Germany, Ireland, Spain, and Portugal. And 2 of those I've already been booked for later this year, as in Ireland and Germany. So I'm very excited to go to those 2 countries.
And will you be going with Ring of Honor to the UK in August?
I will not. I'm actually going home that weekend, or actually for like 12 days, I think it is, to actually go see my family in Montana. I'm taking a little break to go visit my family. I went about a month and a half ago for the first time in 2 years, and I just didn't get to spend enough time with my family when I was there. I was doing interviews. I talked at my high school. I was just busy trying to see everybody from Idaho, Washington, and Montana. So I felt like I didn't really get to spend so much time with my family. Also, my sister was in school still, so I didn't really get to see her during the day. I'd only get to see her during the night, and obviously I was trying to hang out with friends at night. So I almost feel like a bad brother because I didn't get to see her that much. And she's my biggest fan. So this time I want to go back. She's not in school. I just want to be able to hang out with my friends, my family on the lake, and just have an old school Montana summer.
Have you had a chance to wrestle in front of your sister?
I have not.
All right, so that's definitely a goal you have for the future?
Well, it's actually going to happen at Defy Wrestling
Nice.
in August. They're bringing me up to Tacoma, Washington, which I've been before, not for wrestling, but I know that area very well. So a lot of my family and a lot of my friends over there are coming to see me wrestle live for the very first time, and it's something I've always dreamed of. So it's kind of cool.
No, that's fantastic. What was it like speaking at your high school?
Man, it was crazy because, I mean, I'm not the best talker. I don't cut really good promos. I'm learning and I'm trying my best, and I know I will be a good talker someday if I keep working hard. But it was really cool because they reached out to me and they were like, hey, we heard you're coming back to Montana to visit. Would you like to speak at your high school or at the high school? And I was like, yeah, man, like I'd love to. And they're like, okay, cool. We just want to hear your story. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Like, and there's so much I forgot to talk about just because I kind of did it on the fly and kind of just, I took a lot of questions, tried to answer questions. And I didn't want it to be just a typical speech where people are going to fall asleep. I was trying to be entertaining. I was trying to tell a story. And it was a lot of fun, and they got a lot out of it. And I had so many teachers came up to me afterwards who were like, thank you so much for doing this. Like, it really motivated a lot of the students. And the main message I wanted to send across was that people are going to tell you can't do something, and you just got to filter that through your head, one ear and out the other. Because I've been told by so many people that I can't do something. But because I told myself I could do it, and I kept telling myself and I worked hard, I've done almost everything I've set my mind to.
That's fantastic. You were even on I believe you were in the newspaper when you signed Ring of Honor, correct?
Yeah, so my hometown, I was on the front page of the Sunday newspaper, which is the biggest newspaper of the week because it's got all the ads and discounts for like Walmart, Target.
Yeah, totally.
Stuff.
That's amazing.
So like, it was really cool because the night before it came out, apparently I had a friend from high school that delivers papers, and they posted it on Facebook and tagged me in it. And I was like, no way. And I did the interview for the newspaper, but I didn't think it was going to be front page or anything. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool to get that recognition from my hometown. It's almost like I made it, you know? So it was very humbling for sure. Totally,
man. Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. You want to share your social media out there before we head out?
I'd love to. Anybody that wants to follow me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all the same, at The Flip Gordon. Follow me, like stuff, comment stuff, say hi, message me if you want to. Or you can go to my Pro Wrestling Tees account and buy some T-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/TheFlipGordon. I really appreciate it. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for supporting wrestling and coming out and seeing us do what we do. Because we put our bodies on the line for you, and without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. So I just want to say thanks, you guys.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope to be back again soon.
All right. Once again, thanks to Flip for joining us. And, best of luck and much continued success in his career.
I truly hope you hit the Being the Elite music or something just to spook him during that interview.
I didn't even have to do that. Once I brought it up, he just immediately got defensive, and he
was on high alert.
And just to reiterate, he's very clear. He wants to he's going to go after the young bucks and all of them with a very harmful rib.
Right.
He's gonna fight fire with fire. So
Okay.
we'll have to see how that develops going forward. Good luck to him because it's not looking good right now. All right. With all that out of the way, just want to remind you guys you can send us your emails with comments or questions, anything like that, trivia. We love that stuff, especially during the summer. Over at runningwildpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Running Wild LWOS. You can find us on Facebook at Running Wild on Wrestling.
That also reminds me, just briefly, quickly, who won the first Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic?
Hold on. Wasn't American Alpha?
Nope, it was Samoa Joe and Finn Balor.
Oh, that's right.
I knew you wouldn't. I barely remember that.
That's tough.
Just
yeah.
Thought about it the other day. I was like, wow, how cool that those guys actually won. Like that's a cool thing now, but they don't really promote it.
Well, please don't send us questions that hard, because then I'll be forced to get them wrong. No, but we'll definitely send those our way. You can also, of course, follow, if you're following us, if you're not subscribed to us on iTunes, please go ahead and do so right now and leave a comment and write a review. Those things are really important. We're also found on SoundCloud and Stitcher. You can find my wrestling writing, usually covering Ring of Honor mostly, over at pwponderings.com, as well as rohworld.com, where you can listen to me on the newscast and the podcast of Honor when those come up. You can follow me on Twitter at rich_laconi. All right, with all those tags out of the way, I just want to remind you guys that you've been listening to the podcast that is just too sweet.